Hey guys, so after playing the patch all day yesterday, we finally also have all the exact numbers, and we can maybe talk a bit more in depth about like the changes and how is Buddy Barrier and Squashy affected, because the changes are huge, right? They're absolutely huge. So we start with Buddy Barrier, it now gets less HP, it gives less max HP of a shield, and it also doesn't stack anymore. Buddy Barrier doesn't stack with other shields anymore like it used to, it now just refreshes another one if there's another one being used. So these are crazy changes, and I currently feel it happening in the game. Like teamfights feel so much more just impactful, right? Instead of, oh, everyone presses Unite button, everyone has big shields, it actually feels, everything just dies now. Like people just actually die, and it feels much more explosive to the team fights. And so I stopped playing Buddy Barrier in a lot of characters that are especially low HP, because it doesn't feel like it does much. But I think in general, Buddy Barrier is still a fine item on a lot of characters, just because there's not better options, right? Like if you want to survive in a team fight and be a bit tanky, you don't have a lot of options. I think most players will just go into Focus Band now over Buddy Barrier on a lot of characters though. I think Focus Band will become probably one of the most used items, I assume, in this patch. That's at least my expectation. But yeah, so I tried on characters like Absol, and on Absol it's absolutely terrible now. I would not recommend playing Buddy Barrier on Absol anymore. And stuff like, I think it's things like Greninja, it's still totally fine, because you kind of have to jump into your opponents, or Venusaur, or Blastoise. You know, tanky characters in general can still use Buddy Barrier, of course, right? Maybe Gradient as well, but it also only lasts 3 seconds now. Like, it disappears so fast. It appears so fast. So you really have to think about, is it really worth it using Buddy Barrier on which character? Do you really think it's impactful? On someone like Charizard example, like the Buddy Barrier disappears so fast because you also need your animation before, like your Buddy Barrier procs, but you're still just jumping up in the air. So before you land, Buddy Barrier is almost already gone as well. So on a lot of characters, it's quite bad now. But I think it's happy, and it makes me excited, because I think teamfighting in general was always a bit too, I don't want to say unskillful, but just shield madness, and I didn't really enjoy it. And then the next insane nerf is Score Shield. So Score Shield has a 20-second cooldown from 6 seconds, so if you score, you get interrupted, you cannot score with Score Shield for another 20 seconds, which is a huge nerf, and I like it. And also now it doesn't stack anymore. So it doesn't stack with other shields anymore, which is insane. So I have here an example clip right now, I want to show. So this is a Go-Getter Crossel trying to score right now, and we actually managed to just kill the shield so fast, and he can't score, because it now gets depleted first. Sadly, I wish it had a different color, so what my idea was, make it a blue shield, right? Make it a blue shield on top of the other shield, so you can tell which one the score sheet is, because we can't really tell like which of the shields the score sheet is, but as soon as the score sheet dies, it's gone. You can get interrupted, so no longer stacks with any shield. And this completely, I mean, I guess killed score comps, right? Which is something that has been rampant in the pro scene for quite a while, and all these Dragon Knight backdoors, Crossel, Greedent, just backdooring 24/7. And it's kinda dead, I hope so at least. Of course, Go-Getter can still help you. Maybe this makes Go-Getter more popular for those characters that still want to do it. Because without Go-Getter, you will never have it. You will never get it off ever again. And yeah, the fact that you can't Unite move and Score Sheet anymore, I think is just huge, right? I feel like it was just so unskilled. Like, it didn't feel amazing. So someone just pressed Unite move, ran onto your goal, and started scoring. And that's it. There was no counterplay to it, right? It just felt, yes, it might be harder to come back now into games when you're losing. And it might be harder to, at some point in late game, like maybe turn the tides. But I didn't think it was skillful anyways to just like press Unite move, run to a score, start scoring. And suddenly, yeah, wow, you get your score in. And the enemy team just stood there trying to attack you and kill your shield and couldn't do it because the shields are so huge, right? So I'm a huge fan of this. I think it make the game a bit more exciting to play. And maybe Timmy saw like the Japanese meta in the Eos Cup and they've been a big fan of it. Maybe that's not how they want the game to be played. So yeah, now we have full information on all of this, and it's honestly amazing. And I hope it gets fine-tuned a bit. If it's also still problematic that Buddy Barrier, you know, characters just die way too fast now without Buddy Barrier in teamfights, then maybe it gets, you know, a small buff again as well. But for now, I think it's a great change. Alright, and yeah, I think the biggest win of the patches are Focus Band. And honestly, I tried a lot of like just full damage things. I tried a lot of attack rate yesterday. I tried so many more damage. Actually damage held items on damage Pokemon. And I've had so much more fun. Just actually, you know, being able to be more aggressive and not having to build defensive held items just for the sake of, because they're so overpowered, right? But things like Blasters, I think Buddy Barrier again is still also just a great item, and I think it will still be C-play for sure on certain Pokemon. And again, I don't want to say the item is dead yet. I think it's way too early to tell if the item is dead. I think we need a few more days to figure out. Maybe there's a point where everyone is like, okay, maybe Buddy Barrier is still needed, and everyone just goes back to Buddy Barrier on every single Pokemon, right? That can still happen as well, and I wouldn't be surprised. But for now, I'm having a lot of fun not playing Buddy Barrier on any Pokemon. I pretty much have not played it yesterday at all. I tried 1 or 2 games, and besides that, I just had fun not playing this item. Alright, then we had Greedent. And so Greedent gets no slowed in his Corvette. When he takes CC in his Corvette, he actually gets slowed. Quite interesting change as well. I don't think it's going to do too much, but at least certain counterplay towards it. So I think he gets slowed by Flux Zones now as well, so he can't just unstoppable run through them with insanely fast speed. And then we had the Blissey, which is very interesting. So here's some notes as well. With the Soft Boiled and Egg Bomb, we now have more charges. And Soft Boiled has a cooldown of 12 seconds, while Egg Bomb is not learned. Egg Bomb has a cooldown of 9 seconds, while Soft Boiled is not learned. When both are learned, they each share an 8-second cooldown. So that's quite interesting. It's actually, you know, a huge buff to both of those moves, that they actually get lower cooldown even if you just pick them both together. Both now got 2 egg charges upon learning them. These moves now share change reserve. And I haven't tested it yesterday. I think I will play some Blissey today to try and test it out, but I haven't really tested it myself. But it does sound quite interesting. But the problem is that Helping Hand and Safeguard is just very broken too, right? And then Soft Boiled Plus gets 1 egg charge as well. And those gets also shared. So you have like 5 egg charges at level 10. On both of those moves. Of course, they're shared. So if you use 1 Egg Bomb charge, your Soft Boiled loses 1 charge. And then we have Duraludon. So Duraludon, someone made these numbers and it just got nerfed super hard again. We have an 11% charge ratio nerf on the no charge Dragon Pulse, and then mid charge also, and max charge. So it just got nerfed across the board. But there's so much, oh my god, there's so many things to it. But in general, it just got nerfed. It just got nerfed. Damage no charge firing, just everything, like damage got nerfed everywhere. Pretty much this thing get changed. And yeah, Permark, so the Permark got changed and the firing also, damage also got changed. So he did lose a lot of damage again. I'm not sure it's justified. Maybe it's just because they think when like Buddy Barrier and stuff are gone, he's gonna do too much damage in teamfights maybe. Not sure. Then we have Aurora Veil, and I tried this yesterday and man, it just doesn't heal anymore. Like, it still has a heal, right? But you don't notice it. I was looking at my HP bar and I barely saw it moving whenever I auto-attacked. So, I think Veil was a bit too strong still. But, yeah, I'm not sure if it needed a nerf necessarily yet again. And then we also gives less move speed now. And also more attack speed actually. Wait. Per level from 2 to 0. The attack speed is altered, okay. And then Talonflame. So Talonflame has a lower radius on Bravebird now, and also does a bit less damage on it. And his Unite move now has an 11-second long cooldown, and also does less damage. I still played some Talonflame yesterday. Actually, my next video is going to be about Talonflame, and the thing is, right, he lost damage, but you have to think about this, right? Every single Pokemon, a lot of Squishies now lost Buddy Barrier, which is 600 bonus HP, almost every Pokemon had, right? So in the end, Talonflame will still just deal more damage because everyone just lost a 600 HP, you know, hate item, which makes them kind of, you know, very squishy as well again. And I said a lot of success yesterday with Talonflame, and again, my next video today will be a Talonflame video showcasing how strong this character still is. Then we have Lucario. Extreme Speed got nerfed, but it just does so much damage. Like, honestly, it just does so much damage, just so much mobility. He will still be S tier without any questions, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, character will still be S tier. Also, Lucario is very happy about the Buddy Barrier being gone, because he was a Pokemon that doesn't run Buddy Barrier. So he can actually do much more team fights as well now, when no one else just can press Buddy Barrier and live, which means his team fighting is actually going to still be stronger as well. And then we have Hooper. So what got nerfed? We have Trick, 1.5 second longer cooldown, Shadow Ball damage, bonus got reduced by barely anything. Doesn't really matter too much. And then we have Trick, also Trick Plus, now 15% less healing, and Shadow Ball stun duration from 1.2 to 0.8 seconds. But honestly, Hooper is still pretty good. Because we see some Trick Shadow Phantom Forces Hooper now as well. Over Shadow Ball maybe. But honestly, it's still fared very strong. Laning against Hooper is still absolutely pain. Has very strong early game. And again, Hooper Unbound is just so broken of an ability, right? Hooper Unbound is crazy strong, and yeah. Then we have Zeraora, who gets a bigger shield. I really haven't tested it yet myself. I might do it, but I think he still just has a problem of not being level 10, right? But as well, I think he's another character that also, like all these speed stars, all-rounders that do a lot of damage, really have huge advantage of Buddy Barrier just being gone, which means they can actually assassinate and kill opponents, right? Since they're much squishier now in teamfights and might be much easier to play. And then Aegislash. Aegislash is great now. Aegislash is absolutely great. His boosted auto take does more damage, and his shield stance healing also does more healing, so huge buffs on his boosted auto attack. But this one is the biggest one. They upped his Sacred Sword stun duration by double, from 0.5 seconds to 1 second, and Sacred Stones actually stuns so much now. You really think, oh my god, they fly up for so long and they just don't come back down. So one of the biggest winners of this patch is Aegislash. Had a lot of fun playing him yesterday. He seems to be my new cursed character though. I literally couldn't win games on him, despite what I did still. But he still felt absolutely amazing to play and very strong. Next up we have Trevenant, which might be the biggest winner of this patch. Branch Poke now slows and actually does damage and healing as well. It actually does much more now in early game. I mean, Branch Poke was a terrible move, right? So it actually heals now, and it also has increased slow, but the healing is super nice. And then Curse. Curse does so much more damage now. 3% more ratio, 10% more base per level, and the final hit also does damage increase. And he also takes less safe damage, 1% less safe damage, which is a lot, right? 1% is a lot, especially when it's per second. So yeah, this got a huge buff. Curse is very strong now, and Trevenant Gender is very strong. I'm not a big fan of Pain Split yet. I think Hornleech is just a much superior move, but I still have to get to try it. Maybe I find some interest in it. But I feel like he just doesn't really... I feel like his team fighting is so strong with Hornleech, so I just can't really not go it. And then Phantom Forest also got a huge buff, 20-second low cooldown, which means your Unite move is much up, much more often. So huge winner of the patch, Trevenant. Yesterday I posted a 134,000 damage game, absolutely crazy. And then we have Cramorant as well, Air Slash. I haven't played it myself yet. I will also try him today. I saw him played a bit, and honestly his Unite move seemed to do good damage again. So they buffed his Unite move by 11 seconds as well, has a higher ratio, has less per level but more base damage. So the lower level you are, the more damage it does, but late down it might just not be around the same. But at least it has a higher ratio too. So special attack items will make his Unite move do much more damage. And then Air Slash having a 5th blade. They nerfed Air Slash in the last patch, right? So giving him back some power there. Then Greninja. I mean, honestly, it's a reasonable buff, right? It makes sense. This was absolutely insane how long the cooldown was, but I feel like Greninja just doesn't deserve a buff. He's absolutely insane still, of a character. But yeah, I wish they would have maybe nerfed something in exchange for making his Unite move better. This just is a straight up buff to one of the strongest characters I feel like in the game, which is quite questionable. And yeah, this is 30-second cooldown buff. But I think this makes total sense. Like this made no sense. And then we've had Sumeryl. So at Sumeryl, I have no idea what they're doing with this character, but it does more damage now. So where is it? These two changes together means Aqua Tail deals more damage when the target is below about 150 defense and less when they are above. This is a rough estimate, and exact number will change depending on items. So Aqua Tail no longer ignores defense and shields. It got more base damage though, but yeah, as soon as someone has above 150 def, it actually does less damage now. So I guess it kind of got buffed and nerfed at the same time. It depends on who you face and at what stage in the game, right, you face someone. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me think what you think about this patch.